Good morning and thank you everyone for listening to our presentation today. Our group will evaluate the suitability of the necklace by ZAIDI as a literary text for English language teaching, or ELT, particularly for Malaysian upper secondary learner. So finally, we will summarize the strength and weakness of the text before giving our verdict regarding its effectiveness as an ELT material. To begin with, our evaluation focused on Form 4 and Form 5 students in Malaysia's secondary schools. These learners generally operate the CEFR B1 to B2 proficiency level, meaning they can understand moderately complex texts, but may still struggle with unfamiliar vocabulary and abstract literary themes. We selected the necklace because literary texts are widely used in English classroom to improve language proficiency, critical thinking, and culture understanding. However, not all literary texts are automatically suitable for learners. This is because they are famous or academically respected. Many literary materials are published for commercial distribution without carefully considering the learner's actual language proficiency, cultural background, or classroom realities. Because of this, teachers must evaluate whether a text can genuinely support effective learning. Our main objective is to determine whether the necklace is appropriate, engaging, and practical for upper secondary ESL learners in Malaysia. In ELT, a short story can function as educational material because it exposes learners to authentic language used in meaningful contexts. Unlike isolated grammar exercise, literary texts provide learners with complete narrative, emotional experience, and natural sentence structure. This allows students to observe vocabulary, grammars, and communication patterns with realistic situations. The evaluation objective of our study is to assess whether the necklace can effectively support classroom instruction for intermediate learners. There is several aspects that we look for. There is language difficulty, motivational value of the text, relevance of the themes, the practicality of teaching the stories in Malaysia classroom. This evaluation is important because the effectiveness of a literary text depends only on its literary quality but also on how well it matches learner needs. In this section, we evaluate the overall difficulty level of the story using the Nehel framework. This framework helps teachers determine whether a text is too difficult, too easy, or appropriately challenging for a learner. When evaluating the necklace, we found that the text contains several demanding features. Although the story itself is relatively short, the language complexity can become a challenge for intermediate ESL learners. Students are required to process lengthy descriptions, formal dialogues, and unfamiliar vocabulary with simultaneously understanding deeper themes such as vanity, social status, and irony. Therefore, teachers must carefully consider whether learner possess the linguistic readiness and cognitive maturity needed to fully engage with the text. One major issue identified in the evaluation is lexical overload. The story contains many complex words and archaic vocabulary items such as artisans, capitalistically, and other words. These words are not commonly used in everyday English communications, especially among secondary school learners. As a result, students may become overwhelmed or lost motivation if too many unfamiliar words appear at the same time. In addition, the sentence structure in the story are often formal and descriptive, which increase reading difficulty for ESL learners. Without proper support, students may focus too much on translating vocabulary rather than understanding the overall meanings and themes of the story. This shows that while to address this challenge, scaffolding becomes extremely important. Teacher cannot simply give students the story and expect full comprehension immediately. Instead, they must provide structured support before, during, and after reading activity. For example, teacher may need to practice difficulty vocabulary, simplify explanation, provide contextual clues, or guide learners through important sections of the text. Another important consideration is time commitment. Because of the vocabulary loads and analytical discussions required, the story may take longer to teach compared to simple reading materials. Teacher must decide whether additional classroom time is available to fully explore the text without overwhelming learners. Therefore, the effectiveness of the necklace depends greatly on teacher preparations and instructional flexibility.
In this section, we evaluate the necklace using Ahmed Sardi's material evaluation principles. Effective ELT material should create enjoyable learning, provide valid language input, and support teaching. Based on this criteria, the necklace shows several strengths despite some challenges. First, learners are more likely to succeed when the classroom environment is positive, relaxed, and enjoyable. Second, the story has strong intrinsic appeal because it includes dramatic tensions, relatable personal desires, and a surprising twist that keeps students curious and engaged. Third, the text demonstrates strong linguistic validity through rich prose, meaningful vocabulary, and varied sentence structures that expose students to authentic narrative language. Finally, the clear chronological structure of the story supports instructional assistance by helping teachers plan lessons, conduct activities, and design assessment more effectively. Next, we evaluate the text using SLA principles. According to Brian Tomlinson, effective material should expose learners to authentic language and meaningful communications. The necklace supports SLA through reading, discussion, interpretation, and reflection. It also encourages critical thinking through character analysis, irony, and social themes. Brian Tomlinson identifies three major roles of effective language materials: instructional, experiential, and elicitative. First, the necklace is instructional because it exposes students to authentic language input, including vocabulary, grammar, and narrative techniques within a complete story. Second, it's experiential because students interact with the story from beginning to end, developing comprehension and interpretation skills. Third, it's elicitative because it encourages discussion and communication. Students can debate moral issues, discuss Mercedes decisions, and share opinions about social pressure and materialism. As a result, the text promotes both language learning and classroom participation. The story also supports multiple levels of Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy. At the lower order level, students can recall events, identify characters, and summarize the plot, such as explaining Matilda's dissatisfaction or how the necklace was lost. At the higher order level, students can analyze the irony of spending 36,000 francs to replace a necklace that was only actually fake and worth only 500 francs. They can also evaluate Matilda's personality, discuss social expectations, and compare the themes with modern society. This shows that the necklace supports both language learning and critical thinking skills. Despite its strengths, the story presents a contextual mismatch for Malaysian learners. The setting takes place in 19th century Paris and includes unfamiliar cultural elements such as ministries, formal social gatherings, and outdated currencies like francs and louis. These details may feel distant for students. However, the themes remain highly relevant. Issues such as peer comparison, social anxiety, materialism, and the desire for recognition are still common among teenagers today, especially through social media culture. Therefore, although the historical setting differs from students' life, the emotional experiences and moral lessons remain relatable and also meaningful.
Taking strategy called the irony to reality bridge. This approach connects the story theme to real-life experience that students encounter in modern society. For example, Matilda's obsession with status and appearance can be connected to social media culture, where many individuals feel pressure to display luxurious lifestyle online. By making this connection explicit, students are more likely to understand the relevance of the story and engage emotionally with the text. This strategy transformed the story from a distant historical narrative into a meaningful reflection of contemporary social behavior. To further improve classroom effectiveness, we suggest a three-phase pedagogical approach consisting of pre-reading activities, while-reading activities, and post-reading activities. Each stage is designed to reduce comprehension barriers while encouraging communication and interaction. This structured approach helps learners gradually build confidence and understanding throughout the lesson. In the pre-reading stage, teachers can use vocabulary scaffolding activities such as matching exercise or context clue game. These activities help students understand difficult terms before reading the story. During the while reading stage, students can work in groups to rewrite Matilda thought as modern social media posts. This encourages creativity and allows learners to connect the story with their own experience. In the post-reading stage, students participate in role-play activities where Matilda immediately tells the truth about losing the necklace. This communicative activity improves speaking skill, encourages spontaneous interaction, and allows learners to explore alternative outcomes. Summary metric highlight both the strength and challenge of the necklace as an ELT material. In terms of strengths, the story provides rich linguistic variation, strong narrative structure, and meaningful theme that encourage critical thinking. The fast-paced plot and universal theme also increase learners' engagement and enjoyment. However, several practical classroom challenges remain. The text contains dense vocabulary, formal dialogue, and cultural reference that may confuse learners. Therefore, successful implementation depends on how effectively teachers adapt and scaffold the material. Our evaluation demonstrates that teacher intervention play a crucial role in the success of literary text in ELT classroom. Conducting pre-use evaluation allows teachers to identify weaknesses and prepare strategies to overcome them. Teachers must actively guide students through vocabulary challenge, contextual explanation, and communicative activities. When teachers adapt the material properly, students can benefit from both language development and critical thinking practice. In conclusion, the necklace is an effective and valuable literary text for Malaysian Form 4 and Form 5 learners. The story offers authentic language input, strong thematic depth, and meaningful opportunities for discussion and analysis. Although the text contains challenges such as difficult vocabulary and cultural distance, these issues can be successfully addressed through scaffolding and communicative teaching strategies. Overall, we believe the necklace remains a highly suitable ELT material that can promote language proficiency, learner engagement, and critical thinking in the classroom. Thank you.